Good afternoon, everybody. Jim Fleeler coming to you from Ontario, Canada this afternoon, Friday, November the 20th of 2020. And thank you for joining us today on our bi-weekly webinar series where we really try to educate you on the really lowering the risk of an outbreak, for sure there. So with that being said, just a little bit about me, just because we get new registrants every single week, Jim Fleeler, been with Charlotte for almost 40 years, I guess. Learn from you, the people, and your facilities on really how to clean and cleaning protocol, disinfectant protocol, floor care, carpet care, all of those particular things. And at Charlotte, we've got an unbelievable team of resources that we all pool each other's talents and put together to really help you in the industry lower the risk of an outbreak for sure. This week's discussion points, we're in the beginning stages of a major COVID-19 tailspin. We were flying high for a while there, and all of a sudden we're in a little bit of trouble. So we want to talk about that, the seriousness of that today. Also, we've just finished two virtual conferences for Charlotte, one with our Ballpex organization in Canada and one with the ISSA, which is the International Sanitary Supply Association. That one just ended this week, actually, as a matter of fact. So we'll give you an update of virtual conferences and how we feel they're going. Obviously, we continue to do this for each one of you. High interest remains here for facilities really asking for honest guidance and assistance on how they can clean and keep their visitors and occupants of their building safe and their families and the whole works there. So what I can't stress enough is the importance of communicating with us. Really send in your questions to us. Send them online. Send them, after hours. All of the charlotteproducts.com website, things like that. I mean, you just send those questions because we field hundreds and hundreds of them, and we just love giving you answers. I had one from, I'll just mention yesterday, Friday Harbor in Ontario, Melaine there, who really wanted to ensure, she asked us outright, am I using the right product? Am I using the right cleaner, the right disinfectant? Am I using it the right way? How can I tell my higher caliber residents of that facility that they're safe, and we're really making sure that it's safe for them? I mean, just unbelievable questions that we're so excited about helping them with. That's what we're here for, that's for sure. Today's special guest is Jaci Bowen. She's a longtime friend of us for sure, me personally as well. She's the assistant manager of operations at the Simcoe County District School Board, and she's going to give you, we've got an open mic conversation with her really about the pandemic and the operational insight and the discussion from a forward-thinking education facility. And I've said this before, I said it earlier in about March or April, whatever, some of the things that they've done, and thought who better than Jaci to bring her on and really say, look, this is what we're doing. These are the checks and balances and things like that. So we've got her at the tail end of today's presentation for sure. And thank you, Jaci, for helping us out with that. So I'm going to go into the COVID-19 tailspin. There is worldwide extreme concern. The worry is building. It's increasing every single day. People are really starting to, I see more than anxiety now. I see almost panic coming in to our situation where the American Thanksgiving's happening next week. We've got Christmas right around the corner. You've got people moving indoors. You've also got coronavirus or COVID moving indoors, right? It's coming inside with you, and it's up to you to really stop it at the door, without doubt. But there's a lot of worry. There's more lockdowns coming. They're talking about the education system again, all across Canada, all across the United States, Europe. It doesn't matter where it is there. So it's really, we're in a bit of a tailspin without question. There's a loss of life. The counts go up every single day. The cases are absolutely explosive these days. And I mean, so we're in a bit of trouble here without question. So there is an increased risk of the infection spreading, that seasonal change, the annual flu virus, the festive holiday season, all of those things are here, right? And by now, really, and I just put this statement together just quickly and I'll stand behind it, but really there's no excuse for all of us not knowing what we need to do. I mean, there's none, right? So whether it's the social distancing or masks or disinfecting, cleaning, washing your hands, hand sanitizer, it doesn't matter what it is. There's really no excuse there for sure. So every single thing that you do or we do, impacts the spread in a good way or a bad way. And particularly now it ramps up a little bit, accelerates because of those long winter months. And that's a bad news there. But let's look at some good news, okay? Number one, there's a larger percentage of populations taking the flu vaccine. It'll assist every single one of us, right? As a matter of fact, the scientists and the doctors are extremely pleased with the increase, right? In fact, so much that there's actually shortages, temporary shortages at some pharmacies and things like that. And that all of us taking that vaccine is deemed helpful by the scientists, and let's follow them. Okay. And then there also appears to be two major pharmaceutical companies. In fact, I think there's about 3 or 4 now that are very, very close to distributing a COVID-19 vaccine. Okay. And they're talking about that the tail end of December throughout January, whatever it may be there, with huge success rates of 90 to 95% success rates. It is actually it's a 2-part vaccine. For those that don't know, you'll have to actually take it twice, with a 3-week interval, as a matter of fact there. But if that vaccine comes available, I mean, listen, that is great news. But the vaccine does not mean you lower your guard around cleaning buildings, around your disinfecting and cleaning protocol. I mean, obviously that's going to help us definitely save lives and things, but it's really going to take that whole combination for sure there. So let's switch gears here a little bit on the virtual trade show. Like I said, we did the Ballpex convention, which is a Canadian convention from coast to coast. We did, normally we get together in a conference center and we normally sit and chat, and we'll have dinners and breakfast and all of those things. So we're really in a cocoon of a building, I guess, under one roof. We lined all of our appointments up online, all of our speaking sessions, all of the awards and everything else. And you know what? We did, it came off extremely well. All of the participants were happy electronically. It was seamless. The ladies at Ballpex did an outstanding job organizing that. It just went off without a hitch there. Then we came to the ISSA, and the ISSA just finished yesterday, as a matter of fact, and there's thousands of attendees to that. That's normally we all gather in Vegas or Chicago or Florida or something like that, and we get together, but I mean, we didn't do that. We did that actually from our home offices, this studio, some of us, and whatever, but normally we are involved with travel and planes and hotels and taxis and Uber and meals and major expenses, and we're away from home, and we're through international airports all across the world, because this is a worldwide show, and nobody left their house. Right. They may have went to their local office or whatever, but I mean, so it went across, it had a couple of hiccups here and there, but probably due to just the mass size of it there. But I mean, overall, we managed our first year of COVID-19 basically adapting to a new format of virtual. And we'll get better at it, for sure, without question. So our learnings from that, it's deemed successful, right? Okay. We had all of our speaking sessions and appointments there ready to go. The nice thing about virtual here with these trade shows, it's number one, it is the most sustainable event in our history. I mean, absolutely, without question. If you just there's 10 of us that would go to one of these countries and, and travel and hotels and everything else, and we didn't leave. Right? We were right here, So what we do know is sustainability wise, great thing. Not that good for the convention people. Okay. Like with rentals and all of the halls and the caterers and everything else there. But that we're just going to have to adapt over time there. But we're going to get better, and we're all going to learn how to navigate these things easier. The navigation on Ballpex was unbelievable. The navigation on ISSA, and again, probably due to the virtual just mass of it, was a little trickier, but that'll get better as we go along, And the big question I've got here is, will we ever go back to the way that it was in the past? I really personally do not think so. Okay. Without doubt, I just don't think we're going to get there, because it actually seems fairly seamless to do it this way. Okay. One of the big things that we always say as we continue to discuss this question, or this topic, I guess, for a reason, and it's the largest area of failure, but using your disinfecting, making sure that it's registered. Okay, reading and understanding labels. And I'll just show you this bottle of ES15. Okay, that's our ready-to-use disinfectant. Now you can see this label, so take a good look at your product label there, because you'll see a little peel here down in the corner. Okay, and I just got to turn it around. Okay, but you have to put so much documentation on the label about all, Staphylococcus aureus and C. difficile and norovirus, and it doesn't, coronavirus, CoV-2, whatever it is, okay, it's very small print. And we do have multi-language, like bilingual labels, right? So if you look at the label and peel back, all of the information is on the underside, okay, and that'll be in different languages. Normally it'll be English and French on the front. Sometimes it's just English, and it'll be English and Spanish on the back, or whatever, behind this label or whatever. So just a little bit of information there, more information, everything you need to use that product in your facility is on the label. So that's all of our disinfectants that are ready to use will have that, actually, as a matter of fact. So a reminder, diluting properly, regardless of the dilution method. If you are using foggers and sprayers, take a good account of what's your micron size. The smaller the micron size, the drier it applies. So reading the label, if it tells you need 5 minutes or whatever it may be, you may have to spray a little longer to put a little bit more coating on there to make sure that it remains wet for that particular time. Okay, so keep that in mind. Always pre-cleaning the surfaces. If you're using foggers and misters and things, you cannot go in a room and just spray and fog. You actually have to pre-clean first, then you can actually spray. Okay, so keep that in mind. It doesn't replace cleaning with microfiber and cloths and charge buckets and things like that. So respecting your dwell time for sure. Whatever the label says is whatever you need to do. And of course, potable water rinse on food contact surfaces, and that's it. But you know what? We probably get 50 or 60 questions every single week as, are you sure we have to do this? Right? And we get a lot of Mr. and Mrs. Mums from the retail, from residential situations, to say, when I go down the line in the grocery store and I buy that disinfectant that's a name brand, do I have to do that too? Absolutely, it'll be on that label. So don't be misled. And this is our largest area failure. And you wonder why we cover it every single time? It's because that's our largest area failure that we can control. Okay. This here, I'm not going to play this video today. This is a 1-minute video. It is on our link. It is online. It is under charlotteproducts.com. It's under YouTube, the whole entire works. But this is my little video I did for a minute where I sprayed the aerosol can with the mask. And not only is it important for you to see this, but it's important to show your children this, your family this, your parents this, your coworkers this. And it really takes into account protecting you and protecting others from you, as a matter of fact. And actually on our link, there's the UNICEF video, which is the cartoon version, which is great for the children too, about the importance of wearing and washing masks. And we'll cover that in a couple of near futures. So before we get to Jaci, I have an unbelievable, weather permitting, on the next video next webinar we're doing on Friday, December. No, that's the next one. The next one is the 4th. Sorry, it's on December the 18th. Is when it is for last Friday before, I guess the second last Friday. We're continuing on the 4th. As usual, that'll be an open mic with Ask With and Us there. But on December the 18th, there it is. I should have read my slide actually. This is a bit of a teaser, and it's weather permitting. Is we've got a world famous couple that may come along and enlighten us and build our spirits. We've been really down. We've really been stressed. We've really been under a lot of pressure, health-wise and work-wise and social lives and everything else there. And really, I do not want you to miss this webinar. This is a webinar for your children, for your family, for your kids, for your neighbors, whoever it may be there. And really, if we can get Mr. and Mrs. Claus in here on December the 18th, taking time out of their day before the big day, I mean, that'll just be special, without question. So watch for that one. That's December the 18th at 1 o'clock EST time. And away we go from there. So with that being said, I think it is time for our video, as a matter of fact. So Mr. Chris there, if you'd cue that up. And we've got Jaci Bowen, Assistant Manager of Simcoe County District School Board in Ontario. Welcome. Okay, excellent. Well, good afternoon, Jaci and Asquith there. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Jaci.
Good afternoon.
How's everybody doing today?
Great.
Excellent, excellent. So Jaci Bowen is with us today, who's really at the Simcoe County Board. I've known her for many, many years. As a matter of fact, we've worked together, developing sanitation and cleaning programs, custodial programs over the years together, learning from each other, as a matter of fact. And we thought, well, what better person to bring in other than a real expert with lots of years of experience and a real a real specialist when it comes to providing clean, safe facilities for education sector type accounts. So Jaci, welcome today. Can you take a couple of minutes and just tell us about your responsibilities at the Simcoe County Board of Education?
I am the Assistant Manager of Operations at the Simcoe County District School Board. I've been here for a number of years, as Jim has alluded to. My responsibilities include custodial operations, general maintenance operations. Our department encompasses things like sites, fields, playgrounds, pest control, security, alarm response, and as well as the day-to-day custodial and general maintenance operations of the schools. So we have a very big portfolio, very big. And it's all designed for the health and safety of the students and the staff within the board.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And how many buildings would you have that you're responsible for? Ballpark.
I want to say we have 106.
Okay.
Right now, that's our schools. And then we have little facilities that are leased for alternate education and things like that. So
good. So a major responsibility for sure. Definitely there. Well, congratulations, because you're really doing a great job. If you weren't doing a good job, the media certainly finds out pretty fast and advertises on your behalf for sure. But congratulations again. Let's talk about 2020 here. COVID-19 hit at the end of about March, I guess, but it probably started out as a normal year for enrollment and budgeting and capital projects and all of those kinds of things. Then all of a sudden, the very beginning of March, COVID came about, and hit us really hard and really fast. And some heeded the warning, some didn't, and whatever. And what's the general atmosphere been amongst the students and the custodians been since March? Can you enlighten us on that?
Like as you said, in March, everything hit and we shut down as per the protocol by the province. We did have staff within our schools. We had staff in our schools twice a week, operations staff, and they were doing things like, doing a deep clean of the buildings, and they were doing things, maintenance repairs, things that we could do, things that were a priority. We implemented distancing, we implemented staggered shifts and things, so people were not working in an unsafe way with respect to COVID. And then in July, we came back into the buildings on a full-time thing. And of course, school started up in September. It's been a challenge, but our staff and the students of this board have really risen to the challenge, and it's working out really well. I'm so thrilled at how well everybody is working together and how well our operations staff have picked up the gauntlet and ran with it. They feel very responsible, and they're very concerned that they're doing everything properly for the staff and students of this board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jaci, sorry, Jimmy, Jaci, being in school and knowing how rambunctious those kids could be, how are they in the school? Are they cooperating with your staff? What's that like?
I think that this board did really well in terms of setting out a set of parameters for the schools, for the children, for the staff, and the students. So as far as I am aware, and I have heard nothing to the contrary, they are complying. They are working together in trying to make sure that the students are safe, the staff that are working with the students are safe, and our staff, the operations staff, are also safe. So, and as this process, as COVID has evolved, as our knowledge has evolved, right? When you know better, you do better.
Mm-hmm.
We've modified, we've flexed, we've worked on the run to make sure that we're addressing issues as they come up. Like I said, I go back to with COVID, I think our whole mantra has been, when you know better, you do better. And as we know, the information has been changing since March. It's just been an evolution of knowledge. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we call it a fluid situation, I guess. So,
Right.
and you know, we've one of the things we've done at Charlotte through our distribution partners is we've ramped up to 6 days a week, 20 hours a day production. Asquith is the mastermind behind our raw material acquisition, responsibilities and things. And we've done that well. In fact, if we went to 7, we could go to 7 days a week. In fact, we've tried it and we're still working on it, but we're having a difficult time actually getting people now to actually do it, but for whatever reason there and things like that. So your supervisory team is an exceptional team. I happen to know the majority of them, long-standing, proven supervisors that really care. How are they handling? What kinds of things have they done individually to help lower the risk and the anxiety, maybe, I guess, amongst the cleaning staff and even students and teachers, parents? What have they done different?
So I'm glad you mentioned our team. I have a team of 9 supervisors, and they are absolute rock stars. That is true. They have been on the ground since the day that we put our staff back into the schools. They have been out in the schools. They have been delivering, stepping outside of their role and delivering things like hand sanitizers and wipes to schools and connecting with principals and making sure that there's an understanding and a knowledge that what we're all doing is we're all into this together. They have been working fiercely and tirelessly to make sure that our staff have the things they need, that they have the supports they need, that the schools understand what our processes are. I think that's really important for the schools to understand what our processes are. So they've just been, and coping. It's been a change for them as a team. Within the department, we used to be able to meet monthly and used to get together in a big room and have a meeting. Right. And as you all know, we're now web-based and Zoom-based and MS Teams-based. That's been a bit of a challenge for our group because part of having an effective working group is being able to physically talk to each other and see each other and bounce ideas off each other. But again, I go back to the fact we have a very strong team. So we have flipped over to Zoom meetings and flipped over to MS Teams meetings, and we're still connecting. And information, we're disseminating as much information as we can and hiding nothing.
Yeah.
That people feel like they're being honestly and openly served, and there's no hit. People get worried in times like this.
Yeah.
Staff get worried, and you have to remember that when people come to you, that when they're worried, their questions or their concerns may be relayed in a different way.
Yes.
Because of the concern and the anxiety they're feeling. So it's been a different challenge in a different world, but it's working.
Did you have to, Jackie, increase your staffing levels because of all this extra vigilance, this extra cleaning and following all the different protocols?
Not in the supervisory level, Asquith. We, like every other board in the province, we're bound by budget.
Mm-hmm.
We're always bound by budget.
Mm-hmm.
We're very fortunate in that the Premier allocated money to boards for additional cleaning supplies and for staff. We've used a few hybrid models in trying to do that. We have added in some additional staff, we've added in additional hours, and we've identified schools or areas that may be more challenged than others. The rural schools where we might only have one custodian, to try to address support for them. So we've used that money that the province gave us to do that. But in supervisory staff, no, it's just the team. And they've just picked it up and ran with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Asquith, I think you had a question about SARS, didn't you? You were going to ask something about SARS.
Yes, I was saying, in 2003, we had SARS, of course. Did the experience from SARS, was that translatable or transferable to what you're doing now with COVID-19? Did we learn anything from that?
Yes, we did. What we did with when back in the time of SARS, I was a supervisor out in the field and on the road. So we got together as a group, and since we put together our own internal process. What does it look like? What if a pandemic were to hit again? How were we going to clean? What is our focus? What is our areas? Where's our gaps? And what are we missing? One of the things that we implemented and we have maintained ever since is a pandemic supply. So we've, throughout our county, we've had a supply of wipes and disinfectants and gloves and goggles and N95 masks in a room ready.
Excellent.
So that if a pandemic hit, we had supply, you know, because you knew that there was going to be a shortage. And to keep it fresh, we rotated the stock annually. It wasn't just sitting there, you know, with dusted up webs.
Yeah.
It's 2003.
Yeah, I got you. I understand.
It is certainly rotated. So we had our own internal process, and we were ready to go. So when this hit, it was a matter of bringing out those documents. Are they still applicable? Where's our gaps? Is there something we need to be doing? And ensuring that our supply was in place, and it was. So we were fortunate.
Good forward thinking. That's excellent. You know, we had to do a little bit of that on our side as well. You know, Jimmy and I got together with our staff. We saw what was happening in the Far East, you know, and we, you know, around Christmas time, and we decided, hey, you know, this might just be awful here. And so we did a lot of preparations as well on our side in terms of getting raw materials and packaging components and those kinds of things, because that too was a huge scarcity here over the last 6 months, and to some degree still is a problem. So yes, that's really good forward thinking on your side. Excellent stuff.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. The board with Jaci, under Jaci's tutelage, has always been forward thinking. If you remember us back, and Jaci, I'm sure you watched this webinar back earlier in about April or so there, we were talking about dilution control.
Yes.
And your board has always been a driver of dilution control, whether it be disinfecting properly with accurate dilution, or the budgetary reasons, or the sustainability benefits and things like that. And in fact, we referred to the Simcoe County Board as we did the custom wall charts for you. You are one of the very rare ones that use a color-coded open charge bucket for your cleaning, for pre-cleaning and disinfecting, and you know, and those processes there, and that's an amazing system that you've adapted. And this was long before COVID, right? So you understand that long before COVID, and that's just the professionalism and the wisdom to look forward and implement and execute, you know, and that's a good thing for everybody, the students, the teachers, the parents, the staff, everybody all in line. And I've always complimented you for those things there, and I like to take a little credit for that, but no, I'm only teasing. But you know, you've been a soldier moving forward, you know, doing that for your board there, for sure there. So I mean, even today, people don't understand color-coded cleaning systems and open charge buckets and things like that. So a good proven track record all along there. So again, sounds like a broken record, but congratulations for that, because that's why you have such a strong team of custodial individuals and supervisors, you know, because you're giving them the tools to help lower the risk of an outbreak, right? You know, and one thing that always you've done is transparency, whether you like the message or you don't. It's transparency. And unfortunately, our world today is full of those magical miracle products that are full of smoke and mirrors that lead people astray. And that's wrong, because you're really messing and playing with people's lives, you know, is really what you're doing. And you can't do that, right? Nope. You know, for sure there. So the custodians overall have adapted really well. Have you increased the cleaning frequencies in certain parts of the buildings and things as a general rule, or?
What we've done is, and you've talked about the color-coded clean that we do with the open charge buckets. We are very confident in our processes and procedures. Our procedures are written as well. So we have processes, and we've changed and adapted them to, you know, emerging trends and needs and things like that. So we were confident in that charge bucket system. However, we weren't naive enough to think it would be enough, or it would be helpful to our staff. We've identified high touch surfaces in each area of the building. and we've adapted that into all of our procedures. And then we've outfitted and given all of our schools ES15 misters, well,
yes.
sprayers, I should say, not misters, sprayers. In addition to that, in the secondary schools, we've used the pump-up sprayers, you know, like the garden type sprayer, a bigger. Yep, exactly that, Jim. We did trial some mechanical systems, and we put them in the hands of our staff before we went full bore and bought a whole bunch of things. We did try some mechanical, like electrical systems for spraying, and our staff came back to us and said, we don't want them.
Yeah.
We don't want them. They're not working for us. We want the more of these sprayers. We want more of the sprayers, and we want the pump-up sprayer.
You know why, Jackie? Because your staff is so well trained. You know, we Jimmy and I, we've been preaching always. A lot of these fancy implements that are out there, they just don't work. And the reason they don't work is because they're not achieving the proper dwell time.
Yes.
And your staff is so well trained, they notice that, and you got to compliment them. Absolutely. Oh, that's critical.
For sure. And that's why we put the stuff in their hands. I can sit up here and our supervisors can make a decision to go, well, we like this. We like you said, the newest misters and sprayers and electronic devices. Ooh, aren't they great? But they don't function in the building and they don't function in the school. So the sprayers that we put in everybody's hands is for the high touch surfaces. And they're done a minimum of, in addition to the regular cleaning, they're done a minimum of twice a day. And and they're done with the misters and the sprayers to give our staff time to get around the building.
There's the sprayer, Asquith. I don't know if you've seen it before,
yes,
but
I can see it,
I mean, they tested this, and this is what they found was the best overall and the least expensive, as a matter of fact. And employee wellness. I mean, this holds a pressure a long time. You can go to several surfaces in classrooms and hallways and cafeterias and gymnasiums, and away you go. And it's an inexpensive way, right? That really helps. What we do know is that if they're happy, we're happy. You know, as a general rule. I mean, for too long, we put, I would say, and I'm not saying your board in general, but the industry in general has put the inferior tools in the hands of the people that are responsible on our first line of defense. And I think hopefully overall COVID, if it's taught me anything, it's taught me the fact to be fluid is what it's done. To adapt accordingly, but really take away the focus on price-based cleaning versus quality-based cleaning. I think there, and we go from there. So ask with any other questions for you.
Well, we often preach about dilution control and verifying that you've got the accurate dilution. I know you've using the buckets, the color coding systems, and so forth. Could you tell us a little bit, how do you ensure that the concentrations that you've got in your buckets, in your dispensing tools that your staff would walk around to clean? How do you verify that you've got the right concentration? You got to achieve the efficacy you're looking for?
We implemented when we switched. We have the the chemical dilution units on the wall. We have with the ES364 and the ES72, and we set them up for the charge buckets, and we set them up for floor and mop buckets. As Jim alluded to, like I said, we use charge buckets. We don't use any spray bottles. So the machines were all set up for the buckets. Further, we color coded, and Jim talked about this as well, on the machine. So red to the dial goes in the red bucket, right? We implemented wall charts that said, if you're using the red bucket with the red dial, this is what you're doing.
Right.
So we rely very much on those machines. We've not had any issues with it.
And of course, once you do that, then you use your test strips and so on just to verify that in fact you've got the right concentration in those buckets. Yeah.
We haven't used. I'll be frank with you, Asquith. We haven't used test strips a lot.
Okay.
We rely very much on the machines. We've not had any issues. The we find if a machine is not dispensing well, or if we have a problem with water pressure or flow, that's visible in the bucket. Too much foam, no foam. You know, like it's.
You go on your tribal knowledge.
That's it exactly.
Yeah. One thing I can speak up for the board, because I know for a fact there's they are with the brand new Lavo Solutions dispenser Asquith, which is the proven most accurate in the whole entire industry for variable water pressure and hard water and soft water and everything combined. I know the sales staff that go around and service techs periodically check ppm and the dilution ratios and things like that, and they also respond if there is an operating issue or a potential operating issue as well. So one of the things that also we've talked about, and we haven't implemented it yet, but this is something that people should be aware of, is we're coming out with a program. We're looking at Smart Connect. Okay, everything's an app today. It doesn't matter what it is. It's an app. They're looking at in the laundry industry, as some know and some do not. I mean, they'll check the level of chlorine and the level of detergent and the level of all of these softeners and detergents and stuff. And if something's off, you get a report on your app. So. Talked a little bit. We're actually done a couple of tests, but quite honestly, the technology is expensive at this point. But that'll be something that comes along, because innovation is key to lowering the risk of an outbreak, that comes along in the next year or two. And so what would happen is people in Jaci's position, but her supervisors and head custodians would know instantly that such and such a school in closet 3 has an issue with the dilution ratio, or even run out of stock, like run out of concentrate, right?
Right.
That's just quality assurance and checks and balances. And that's our industry that's actually evolving there, is really what it is. So we've spoke a little bit about that, but we're not quite ready, but we will be there. So that assurance, what's good is the color-coded system, the top-of-the-line latest technology dispenser, visual. Don't underestimate the power of visual observation. I mean, that
makes all the difference.
And that's terrific there. Now, how about innovation? I mean, you've switched to the dispensers, obviously, pre-COVID, I may add. Anything else you've done in the board system there for speeding up? I mean, your pump-up sprayer obviously speeds up and reduces the impact of carpal tunnel and things like that. Anything else you've added?
With respect to COVID, I would say that the biggest thing we've added, of course, is what I've already alluded to, which is the sprayers. Yep. We've added in the sprayers. We're adding in, and we're looking at more and more microfiber floor equipment.
Yes.
And trying to move towards that. That's a bit of a harder sell with some of our staff. This is it's what you're used to, so it's changed, right? We, as you know, we do the diamond polishing of all our Trazo floors. We've had that in place for quite a few years.
Yes.
And that's been very successful. So we're always looking at the industry, and we're always looking at new things and trying to be progressive, trying to be green where we can. I mean, we were very early adopters of microfiber cloths prior to the color-coded system. So we're always looking at different things and different tools. This morning I was looking at the desk wands, with the knob and the microfiber, so you can do like a large surface area at once. So we've looked at quite a few things, and we always keep looking, but we don't jump until we work it through our staff. We had a number of things that were brought to us by your company in February. One of your suppliers brought it to us from Belita, which was great. And then, of course, COVID hit, and we had to give all the samples back and say, okay, we'll try this again when we get back open to the world again, right? And in that, we were looking to further enhance the color-coded clean, but we were also looking at the dual mop systems.
Yes.
The dual mop buckets with the clean and the,
I think Jimmy did that several months ago on a demo, Jim. That's one of Jim's favorites.
Yeah. The double cavity mop bucket. I don't care what brand, what color, what size, whatever, it's a necessity. We no longer can clean with a single cavity mop bucket because we're spreading more than we're cleaning. Look, it's okay if you're in a healthcare facility and you're going in one patient room and then changing your bucket over with fresh solution and before you go to the next one, but we'll go 6 or 7 rooms, 6 or 7 classrooms, a large cafeteria where there's, prone to food spills and things like that. And yeah, the industry, what I like about it is I really think that COVID will come out stronger on the other side. There is no question in my mind. I think that the learnings here from proactive people like Jaci and the Simcoe County Board of Education, I mean, that's a direct example of exemplary action and management. I mean, really personally, we've talked about it many times before, but it just is. Jaci, what do you think? What would you have to say to the facilities that are still glugging? Okay, and especially a disinfectant. What would you say to people? Because there's still lots of people that do that.
Stop. Just stop. Really, I cannot say enough about dilution control. It's not about dollars and cents. It is about properly and effectively cleaning and the safety of your staff and the people around. So I know in managerial positions, we tend to look at the dollars and cents. Well, it would save us money because we're diluting properly and we're not just pouring.
Right.
And that's a piece of it for sure. But if you're overloading your school with disinfectant, you're not doing anybody any favors. You're overloading the system. You're killing good bugs as well as bad bugs. If you're exposing your staff and they're not wearing their PPE properly as they should, and let's not kid ourselves. PPE. We got to remind people, wear your PPE. We're exposing them to risk and danger.
Yeah.
And it's so easy. It's so easy to switch to dilution control. Yeah. And it's so easy just to put a bucket on a machine or a spray bottle. That's what you want to go with and walk away. So much easier than pouring and spills on floors and, damaged floor finishes because we've put too much down. And then we come back to our supplier and we say to our supplier, your floor finish is garbage. It doesn't last. Well, because I've just literally stripped it with a mop because I've poured too much solution into my bucket. So the benefits far, far outweigh not exploring it. That's in my opinion.
That is, single-handedly, Jaci, that's probably the most sincere and best advice I've heard from a person in the industry in all my time. So, I mean, thank you for that for sure, because it's true. It is true. Stop and think about it. There's so many elements to consider, and I couldn't put it in better words myself there. So that was very well said. Ask with any other questions from you.
Well, just one little question here. In terms of, have you witnessed any supply shortages and so forth in the last little while? Anything at all?
There's been, I understand that it's going to be a challenge to get disinfectants because I understand the raw materials and clots and things like that. We haven't gone without, but we've come to the wire very close. We have used up and tapped into our pandemic supply, so thank goodness we had it. I think the biggest challenge we seem to be having right now is hand gloves, nitrile gloves, the PPE for the gloves. We discontinued and we removed the use of disposable gloves because we had brought in disposable gloves for things like one-time body and bodily fluid cleanup. Peel off the glove and dump it after. Right. Staff were using them all the time, so we went back to and we really enforced the use of a nitrile glove that covers their wrist, that protects them at the 15 mil. That's good for the chemical use. So that has been a challenge, making sure that we have enough gloves. The rest of it, I would say we're okay. But yeah, you're right. There's shortages, but you're competing against a lot of boards and a lot of places that want these products. Paper towel being another one, but our local branch has stepped up. They've substituted paper towel when we needed it, and they've kept me apprised weekly. I have a weekly report from our local branch that tells me what is back ordered and when I can expect delivery. So,
okay.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, you know what? I think, you know, I don't think we could follow up with anything better, actually, Asquith.
No,
it's I'm getting my time clock warning from our IT person here who basically can, like the presidential election, can just mute us anytime. Doesn't have to just give us a warning or the hook. It can actually stop us. And you see, in Asquith, you know, you remember, Jackie, when Asquith was a little quieter and a little shy and timid. You notice he's starting to talk more now. That's a
good.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's a man of wisdom for sure. But what it also proves is he's comfortable talking to people that are professionals in the industry as well and get it, right? You know, so really, with that being said, any closing remarks from you or comments that you'd like to say at all, or?
No, I'm completely fine. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's the key word from us here. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I've always respect you and always will respect your comments and your objectives to make it a cleaner, safer facility in place and lower the risk of an outbreak, and the care that you have for your students and your staff and your supervisory staff and management and stuff. It just goes light years above the majority of people. So really, on behalf of us, I want to say thank you. It's this you know, this will be shared across the world, as a matter of fact, you know. So so next, when we stop this, we'll have you record it in Chinese and Russian and Cantonese and Mandarin and English and Spanish, or not English, but Spanish and French and the whole entire works there. But no, Jackie, absolutely, on behalf of us, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And Asquith, any closing remarks for you?
Well, Jackie, I must say, you know, I've known you for many, many years.
Sure.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for spending the time with us. And you go on, and I understand that you're going to be going into retirement one day in the very near future. So I wish you the very best of health and happiness during your retirement.
I will. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, but he's not going to get rid of us, Asquith. You know, that's I didn't want to say about retirement there, that's for sure, because we're saving that for later down the road there. But and you never know, maybe nobody knows. Did you realize that, Asquith? Someone may not know that she's retiring.
They all know now. It's okay, Asquith.
That's good. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. So with that being done, we'll end today's session. And again, Jackie, thank you for everything that you do, and we'll talk to you in the near future.
We will.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.